Sometimes life unravels in ways that defy logic. Sudden misfortunes, broken relationships, or strange turns of events that feel just a little too intentional. You try to explain it away, but deep down, a question lingers. What if this isn't just bad luck? Stoic philosophy urges us not to jump to conclusions, but it also teaches us to observe reality with clarity, to notice when something unnatural is quietly working against us. Even in today's world of science and skepticism, negative spiritual forces still find their way in. They don't always look like spells or curses. They often hide behind toxic behaviors, envy, or unexplained emotional shifts. In this video, we'll explore 5 powerful signs that you may be under some form of spiritual attack or unseen manipulation. These signs are subtle, often dismissed, but once you know how to spot them, you can take back control. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because once you see what's really happening, you can defend your energy, rebuild your boundaries, and protect your peace from forces that thrive in the dark. Keep watching. What you discover may change the way you understand your own life. Signs number 1. Intense intuition and spiritual disorders. Long before logic catches up your inner compass, often rings the first alarm. Across ancient cultures, spiritual traditions, and even Stoic philosophy, there is one truth that keeps surfacing: intuition is real. It's not superstition. It's not a random emotion. Intuition is a form of higher wisdom, an inner knowing that flows from a deeper, quieter part of your consciousness. It's the soul's quiet voice, warning you when something in your environment isn't right, even if everything on the surface appears normal. One of the most powerful signs that you may be under a spiritual attack or influenced by dark, unseen forces is when these intuitive alarms start to go off again and again without any visible cause. You're going about your day and suddenly feel anxious, like you're being watched. Or you step into a room and sense a heavy, unwelcoming energy. You meet someone new, and instantly your body pulls away, not because of anything they said or did, but because their presence feels wrong. These sensations aren't irrational. They're signals, and they often show up long before the physical or emotional effects of a curse or spiritual interference take hold. Ask yourself, have you been feeling more uneasy lately without knowing why? Have you had sudden nightmares, disturbing dreams where you're trapped, chased, or unable to move? Do the spaces that used to feel peaceful now feel tense and strange, even though nothing seems to have changed? And what about your spiritual life? That's where another sign appears. You used to find peace in prayer, stillness in meditation, comfort in journaling or chanting. But now those very practices feel distant, disjointed, even stressful. You can't concentrate. You feel disconnected, as if something is standing between you and the calm you used to find so easily. This isn't just random stress. It's energetic disruption. Stoicism doesn't ask us to suppress our emotions. It asks us to examine them calmly, wisely, and with detachment. And if feelings of fear, exhaustion, or mental fog arise again and again for no logical reason, it's time to stop brushing them off. These aren't just feelings, they're warnings. So how do you respond? First, honor what your intuition is telling you. Write down your thoughts and sensations, track when and where they happen. You may begin to see a pattern, one that reveals more than you expect. Second, take spiritual action. Cleanse your energy field. This isn't about superstition, it's about self-respect. Meditate with calming high vibration sounds. Bathe with sea salt to neutralize energy. Burn sage or sacred herbs to restore purity to your space. carry stones like obsidian or tourmaline, not because they're magic, but because they're ancient tools used for grounding and protection. And most importantly, rebuild your inner boundary. Every morning, take a moment to visualize yourself surrounded by light, strong, clear, and impenetrable. Repeat to yourself, I am protected. My energy is mine. Nothing harmful can touch me without my consent. Energy responds to intention. When you believe in your right to spiritual safety, you begin reclaiming it. The Stoic doesn't run from darkness. He walks through it with his head held high, carrying the flame of reason and awareness. When your soul speaks through intuition, dreams or silence, don't dismiss it. Listen with clarity. Act with courage. That's how you begin to break free. Signs number 2. Strange physical and emotional symptoms when your body speaks before your mind. Stoicism encourages us to lead with reason, to manage emotions through rational thought. But that doesn't mean we ignore the signals of the body. In fact, the Stoics acknowledged that the body and soul are deeply intertwined. And sometimes, it's the body, not the intellect, that raises the first alarm when something invisible begins to interfere with our well-being. One of the clearest signs that you might be under spiritual attack or caught in the grip of an energetic curse is the sudden onset of physical and emotional symptoms that seem to come from nowhere. You feel off-fatigued, foggy, maybe even afraid, but nothing in your environment explains it. And no matter how many tests you take, how healthy you eat, or how well you sleep, something still feels wrong. Take the case of someone like Linda, a name that could represent so many people who have shared similar stories. She used to be energetic, focused, and joyful. But without warning, her vitality drained away. She wasn't just tired. She described it as if her life force was leaking, like her energy was being pulled from her hour by hour. No matter how much rest she got, she woke up exhausted, and no blood work, no doctor, no scan could offer an answer. But it wasn't just her body that changed. Her emotions became unstable. Sudden waves of fear would hit her in familiar places. She'd enter rooms that once felt safe and feel cold, unwelcome. Her dreams turned into haunting experiences. Dark figures, sleep paralysis, a sense of being watched. Her mind had no explanation, but her body and spirit were screaming. The Stoics taught that everything has a cause, and if no logical or medical explanation is found, we must broaden our perspective. When the source of your suffering isn't found in your environment, your behavior, or your biology, you may be dealing with something that operates beyond the physical, a force meant to disturb, distract, and dismantle your inner peace. You'll know it's not ordinary stress when nothing typical helps. Meditation doesn't calm you. Yoga feels difficult. Prayer feels blocked. You may try journaling or even therapy, but your symptoms remain untouched. That's when you must stop asking what's wrong with you and start asking what's interfering around you. Often, these energetic attacks aim straight at your core strengths. Are you naturally creative? Suddenly, your ideas vanish. Are you a confident speaker? Now your words stumble and vanish mid-sentence. Are you athletic? Mysterious aches or minor injuries appear without cause. These aren't coincidences. They're targeted disruptions meant to unbalance you at your very center. So what can you do? Start by becoming a calm observer of your own experience. Write down when the strange symptoms appear. What time of day? Where are you? Who are you with or thinking about? Do your symptoms ease in some places and worsen in others? You may be surprised at what patterns begin to form. Linda eventually noticed her symptoms lifted completely, whenever she visited her sister in another state, but returned as soon as she interacted with a particular coworker. That awareness was a turning point, because once she recognized the pattern, she could reclaim her power. Stoicism teaches us that what we cannot directly control, we can still influence by observing clearly and responding wisely. If you believe the force acting on you is intentional, then it's time to act with intention too. You are not powerless. You are not imagining things. And most of all, you are not alone. This second sign, when physical and emotional symptoms arise without cause and defy all remedies, is not just a warning. It's evidence. And when combined with other signs, it becomes a powerful confirmation that you're not simply tired or overwhelmed. You're facing something deeper, something hidden. But now, you can begin to face it head-on. Signs number 3. Unexplained repetitive negative patterns. Life, as any Stoic would tell you, is never meant to be perfectly smooth. Misfortune is part of the natural rhythm of existence, ups and downs, that shape character, test resilience, and teach acceptance. However, there are times when life doesn't just throw random challenges your way. It feels as though something is aiming at you. When misfortunes strike repeatedly in the same areas of your life with disturbing precision, it's time to ask deeper questions. The third sign that you may be under spiritual interference, or even the grip of a metaphysical attack, is a pattern of negative events that unfold in a way that goes beyond bad luck. And what makes this pattern especially dangerous is that it often strikes at the exact areas of your life where you once felt most secure: your health, your finances, your career, your relationships. Picture this. You were once in great shape, healthy, energized, confident. Then, without any warning or medical explanation, your body begins to weaken. Chronic fatigue, strange pains, and low immunity become the norm. Or maybe your business was thriving. You had reliable clients, momentum, progress. Then, out of nowhere, customers disappear, contracts fall through, and money seems to evaporate. Even in your love life, a relationship that was once a source of joy becomes filled with tension, constant conflict, or sudden coldness. It's not just that bad things are happening. It's that they're happening all at once, and in places that once gave you strength. These aren't random storms. They are signs of targeted disruption, especially when these breakdowns come in waves just as you're about to reach something meaningful, right before a breakthrough, a new opportunity, or a life shift. You prepare for an important job interview, and your car suddenly breaks down. You're on the verge of launching a project, and your technology crashes. You plan a peaceful weekend, and emotional chaos shows up in your home or with someone you trusted. When this pullback happens consistently, right at the threshold of progress, you're likely not just dealing with misfortune. You're facing something designed to interrupt your path. Stoic philosophy doesn't encourage paranoia, but it does demand that we see reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. And when chaos follows a pattern, the wise response isn't to dismiss it, it's to investigate it with clarity. One of the most powerful tools you have is awareness. Start tracking these events. Journal your setbacks, the timing, the people involved, the feelings you had just before everything went wrong. Pay attention to detail, even the small ones. Over time, patterns will emerge. You may realize the disruption always follows a conversation with a certain person, a visit to a certain place, or a moment when your confidence is highest. These repeated breakdowns might not prove you're cursed, but when they're paired with other spiritual and emotional signs, a new picture begins to emerge, one that your rational mind alone could never piece together. And here's what sets you apart from most: you're willing to ask why. You're not just enduring pain, you're tracing it. And in doing so, you're reclaiming power. In a world where most people move through their suffering in silence, Stoicism reminds us awareness is not weakness. It's the beginning of control. Signs number 4. Strange objects and unusual arrangements. Your living space is not just a physical shelter. It's an energetic environment, an extension of your inner life. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control everything that happens around us, we must always be mindful of what we allow into our sphere. And here's a truth often overlooked: energy, even if invisible, always leaves a trace. This becomes critically important when something unseen begins to manipulate the environment around you. One of the most telling signs that you may be under a curse or energetic spell is the sudden appearance of strange objects or subtle changes in your surroundings. Things that seem harmless on the surface but don't belong. These are not random decorations or forgotten clutter. They are often planted intentionally, designed to attract, or amplify negative energy aimed at you. It doesn't have to look like something out of a horror movie. Modern spiritual interference rarely announces itself. Instead, it hides behind the ordinary: a pouch of dried herbs tied with red string found under your bed, a small glass vial behind a bookcase that you never placed there, coins or stones arranged in patterns in the corners of your yard, or even a family photo mysteriously turned upside down. You might even find personal items, your hairnails, or a picture of you embedded in objects you don't remember owning. These items are often placed at key energetic locations near your bed, your front door, your desk, your meditation corner, spots where your energy is most active and vulnerable. And it doesn't stop there. Curses or psychic attacks can attach themselves to personal belongings too. A piece of jewelry that suddenly feels heavy, a favorite shirt that now feels uncomfortable, a watch that stops working or gives off an odd sensation. If you find yourself growing tired or uneasy after putting on something that used to make you feel good, pay attention. Your intuition is often the first to sense what your mind can't yet explain. Sometimes the disturbance is even subtler. A chair you never use, suddenly pulled out. A book open to a page you didn't leave it on. A window you know was closed, now mysteriously ajar. These may seem like nothing at first glance, but in the context of spiritual intrusion, they can be energetic markings, signs of interference designed to destabilize the harmony of your space. The Stoic path is not about superstition. It's about clarity and calm observation. Don't panic. Investigate. Take a mental and physical inventory. Begin documenting where and when you notice these anomalies. Were you feeling particularly low when you discovered the item? Had someone recently visited your space? Did a specific person show renewed interest in your life right before these changes began? If you do find a suspicious object, never touch it with bare hands. Energy, especially energy intentionally programmed to harm, can be transmitted through direct contact. Use gloves, tongs, or a clean cloth to handle it. Place it in a sealed bag, and if possible, remove it far from your home. You can neutralize its influence by burning it safely, or burying it with a clear spoken intention. I sever all energetic ties to this object. You hold no power over me. But clearing the object is just one step. You must also reclaim the energy of your space. Open the windows. Let fresh air circulate. Cleanse the room with sound herbs or prayer, whatever feels powerful to you. Visualize light filling every corner. Take command of your environment again, not just physically, but spiritually. When this sign shows up alongside other signs, emotional instability, repeated misfortunes, broken relationships, it's no longer something to brush off. It's a map, one that leads you to truth. And with truth comes power. Because sometimes a small cloth pouch stuffed behind your dresser isn't just trash, it's a silent attack. But once you see it, you can stop it. Your home is your temple, and your awareness is the first step to protecting it. Signs number 5. Unusual changes in relationships. Human connection is one of the most powerful stabilizers in life. It's what keeps us grounded through storms, nourishes us during uncertainty, and reminds us we are not alone in the world. Whether it's family, friends, colleagues, or a romantic partner, these bonds are like lifelines that carry emotional and spiritual energy. But when those very lifelines begin to fray, without warning, without cause, and without logic, it's time to look deeper. The 5th sign that you may be under the influence of a spiritual curse or energetic manipulation is when your relationships begin to change in ways that feel unnatural. We're not talking about slow breakdowns caused by disagreements or growing apart. We're talking about sudden, unexplained distance, a wall that rises overnight between you and the people who used to know your heart. You might notice it in a trusted friend who once texted you daily, but now avoids contact without explanation. A colleague who once praised your work suddenly turns cold, dismissive, even antagonistic. A family member begins criticizing or blaming you out of nowhere, twisting your words or acting as if you've betrayed them when you haven't done a thing. These aren't isolated cases of mood swings. They often happen in clusters. One person changes, then another, then another. And no matter how kindly or clearly you reach out, it seems like your words no longer land the same way. Messages go unanswered. Conversations turn awkward. Warmth turns to suspicion. It feels as if something invisible is distorting your connections, warping the emotional frequency between you and the people you once relied on. The Stoics taught that our emotions and responses are shaped by more than just reason. They're influenced by unseen forces, both internal and external. And when relationship after relationship begins to shift in the same eerie way, it's no longer coincidence. It's a pattern, and that pattern may be the result of an energetic force, one designed to isolate you, to cut you off from your support system, and leave you vulnerable. This tactic has existed for centuries. In ancient traditions, it was called a dividing spell, a subtle but devastating method of sowing confusion, mistrust, and emotional detachment among people. It doesn't require threats or confrontations. It simply implants doubt in the hearts of others, making them pull away on their own. They begin to feel weird around you. They can't explain why, and neither can you. But the damage begins to grow quietly. Even more disturbing, communication itself begins to fail. Emails go missing. Texts don't deliver or are misunderstood. You say one thing, but it's heard as something else entirely. A kind message gets read as sarcasm. A neutral statement is interpreted as hostility. The very lines of understanding become corrupted like static on a radio that once played clear music. It's not just frustrating, it's disorienting. And isolation follows. This is one of the most dangerous outcomes, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Because when you're disconnected from others, you become easier to influence, easier to confuse, easier to harm. The spell doesn't just seek to make you suffer, it seeks to make you suffer alone. So how do you respond? First, resist the temptation to lash out. When someone turns cold, it doesn't always mean they've betrayed you. They may be unknowingly affected by the same force that is targeting you. Observe calmly. Don't react emotionally, respond with awareness. Second, whenever possible, prioritize in-person connection. Eye contact, body language, and shared energy are much harder to distort than digital messages. When someone you care about is acting strange, meet them face to face. You'll often sense whether it's truly them or something else pulling the strings. Third, document what's happening. Write down moments where words were twisted, when you were misunderstood, when reactions felt strangely out of sync with your actions. Over time, you may start to notice patterns, certain people times, or triggers that align with the breakdowns. And finally, remember, not all the anger or coldness directed at you belongs to the person expressing it. In some cases, it's an external energy, using them as a channel. Don't lose your compassion. Stoic wisdom teaches us not to take everything personally, but to understand the forces at play behind behavior. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse, but it does mean recognizing that sometimes people are being used, not acting from their true selves. Protect your energy. Keep your spirit clean. Don't allow bitterness to take root, even when you feel abandoned. The greatest strength you can show in moments like this is clarity, calm, and the refusal to become what is being done to you. Because sometimes what you're facing isn't betrayal, it's interference. And the first step to healing is seeing that clearly. This video reveals 5 powerful signs that you may be under a spiritual curse or psychic attack, ranging from intense intuition and emotional instability to unexplained patterns in your life and sudden breakdowns in relationships. Drawing from Stoic philosophy, it offers practical ways to recognize, protect, and reclaim your inner peace. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights grounded in Stoic wisdom.